Super Show Down. I'm gonna say truthfully, I have been busy the last couple of days working on stuff overnight. Like the impact review, I had an error with it where I had to redo the video twice, and I've been working on my animation. So I've been tired the last couple of days. So when this day came, and I forgot. And when I remembered, it was late in the day, so that's why this is late coming out. I'm sorry. It happens. But let's be honest here, and I'm going to be straight with you guys how I feel about this pay-per-view. Other people, they'll probably say it was a great pay-per-view and it was a success. But honestly, if you look deep into this pay-per-view, it is not a success. It is actually a horrible mistake. And honestly, it was sad. Sad to see that they had some decent hyping, which I did say in my SmackDown review that it was kind of hard to really get into this hyping because it was such a short amount of time. It's on a Saturday. Saturday morning for that matter. Usually you get a Sunday evening, but a Saturday morning, it makes it hard for anyone to even be interested because most people won't be able to see it until in the late night or in the afternoon. So the hyping for me was kind of But when I saw this show, it was ruined for me. Because the major issue, and it's one, all of the SmackDown matches were borked, were messed up, were a mess. Raw, we already knew Raw was a mess. We were hoping for SmackDown to be interesting. And honestly, it wasn't. SmackDown was a disaster. Now let me get into this. Now the first thing, I did not look at the kickoff show. I was not interested. I know there probably was something there, but I didn't watch it, if there was even one at all. I think there was. But let's go through the show in chronological order, unless I believe it needs to be taken out of order. New Day versus The Bar. Now it's a SmackDown show. A SmackDown match. And it was a good match. You got Xavier Woods and Kofi instead of Biggie Langston. Or Biggie, sorry. He don't like going by Biggie Langston. It's got to be Big E. I like Mr. Langston. That actually would sound a lot more interesting than Biggie Langston, Mr. Langston. But here's the issue. Match was actually quite good. But the wrong people won. New Day retained. And The Bar once again lose. Now, what does that mean for us? The same boring booking. Unless they're going to let The Bar win this Tuesday because some reason they get a chance to go at them again and then they get it back. Well, not get it back. They get it, period. Which is the dumbest thing. But if they don't get a chance to get the titles, now what? They go after the New Day goes after the Usos again? We've seen that. The New Day goes after who? The Colognes? We barely seen them at all. The New Day going after Sanity? We barely seen them. The Bludgeon Brothers have been off TV for quite a while. It would have been more interesting if New Day dropped the titles and The Bar had it. Excuse me. The Bar would have at least been a fresh championship. A fresh champions. That would have been better. And I gotta say this. When they first came down from the back, they decided to run their asses down to the ring. And that was The Bar. That was freaking funny. I don't know what possessed them to do it, but it was funny. But in the end, it just made no sense for them to do it. They should have let The Bar win. And then we get the second match that followed that, where I'm sure a lot of people were not 100% uncomfortable with the New Day winning. And there would have been some that were not happy about The Bar losing. But this match, it 100% was the most stupidest decision the WWE could have made between Charlotte and Becky. Now, first, and I'm not being sexist, look at my face, boobs. Boobs. Charlotte's boobies hanging out. Now, look, I'm going to say that at least she wasn't grabbing her chest like she was in the last couple of matches she was dealing with before. Which I'm glad to see that she's not worried about her chest having some type of issue. Because that was a major issue. For me personally, if she can't be able to wrestle, not worried to clench her breast because she's worried that someone's going to pop her breast, that's going to be an issue. So seeing that she's okay, that's good. Boobs. Sorry I had to do it. I'm sorry. Look, if there was a Charlotte Flair in my face, I wouldn't have a problem grabbing him. I wouldn't have a problem telling her I love her. I wouldn't have a problem being her man. But I do have a problem with how the match went on. Because the match was actually quite good. Like I've always said, as long as Charlotte is working with someone she's familiar with and who is damn good, there's no issue. The issue is at the end of the match. Particularly when Charlotte was put in a figure 8. No, let me back up. It reached a point with Becky that she felt like she wasn't going to stand a chance. So she does the chicken shit heel thing, grabs her title and starts walking away. Charlotte grabs her, pulls her back into the ring, and then she slaps on the pretty much the figure 4 when she was trying to go into the figure 8. And when it came to Becky, the title was still in the ring. The ref never got rid of it. And in the end, Becky grabs the title and pretty much whacks her in the head with it. That was the worst thing they could have done. That was. Then I thought it was going to be even worse. That once it was over, Charlotte ran after her ass, started grabbing at her, started punching her, and I thought now they're going to make Charlotte look better. But guess what? They did not. Charlotte did not get over on Becky. Becky got over on Charlotte. But then, what does this actually mean? They're trying to make Becky hateable. When, and I'm being honest here, the Melbourne, I forgot the name of the crowd in the arena, I'm sorry. The Australian crowd, I'll probably remember the arena later. But pretty much they were booing the majority of time for Charlotte and cheering for Becky. They wanted Becky to win that clean. And by the WWE telling Becky to cheat, then beat the crap out of Charlotte after that is a worse decision they could have made. Honestly, it's the truth. It was dumb. And it just keeps going from there. Well, I'll say the third match was interesting because I didn't know John Cena came back. That's what happened when you don't look at Raw. John Cena came back to do a match between him, Lashley, Kevin Owens, and Elias. Now, I gotta say this about Elias playing his guitar. Elias actually can play the guitar alright. But the tune that he normally plays was not played first. It was something else he was playing. I can't remember what the tune was. But he was trying really hard to get the tune right. And he was botching that sucker while Kevin was watching going, He was botching it. But still, the crowd still loved it. It must have been a very special song to the crowd in Melbourne. There you go. Melbourne, Australia. There you go. That was it. And I'm sorry, I forgot. But in the end, what did we get in the match? Lashley being so sloppy. At one point, he was supposed to jump over, I believe it was Elias. And he couldn't even jump over Elias properly. It was timed so badly, and he just looked so botchy. I'm talking about Bobby Lashley. I actually like Bobby. I think he can be a good wrestler when he's doing it correctly and focused. He wasn't correct and focused. He was sloppy as hell. The only people that anyone cared about, well, person, was John Cena. No one cared that much about Elias. No one cared that much about Kevin Owens. They cared about John. John comes out at the very end of the match, and then he does this, hi! And then he does a straight punch to, who was it? I think, Elias, who was it that he punched in the face? I think he punched Elias in the face and knocked his ass out. Because he's been in China for the last 3 months speaking Mandarin, working at Jackie Chan's own school, supposedly stunt school, and he's been practicing. At least that's what I understand for the last 3 months. I don't know. It would have been better. Understand this. If he was going to do a special move, why didn't the camera readjust itself so you can see him do a straight punch like a Chinese kung fu fighter does a straight punch? Why was it at such a bad angle? You could have had more interest that way, but nope. But in the end, John won. It was nice to see he's back because, let's be honest here, we got lackluster work on Raw. And if he's going to stay on Raw, that means they're going to probably write for him at least semi-correctly. So we may get something for Raw, but it doesn't mean I'm going to watch it and do a review on it. I might just check to see if he's doing anything, but as a reviewer, nope, not doing a review on Raw. I don't care. Yeah, I understand that Deluxe Man is doing this along with everybody else, Raw Cleanse. I personally don't care about a Raw Cleanse. It's still the same crap. We don't watch it. They go down to a 0.9. They still won't change because they're still making money. That's just how I see it. Unless they're not making money, they don't give a damn. I'll be surprised if they do change, and then I'll do Raw reviews again, but you get my point. Now, here's a match that was the most stupidest match of the entire show that pissed my ass off without no end. Iconics versus Naomi and Asuka. Look, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't mind the Iconics. I don't mind Peyton Royce. I don't mind Billie Kay. They are wrestlers who should be mainly managers and sometimes wrestle. But because they want to make women look good, they're making them wrestle. That's what they want, and they're not very good at it. Then you have a Naomi who actually improved herself over the last 3 years. Then you have an Asuka who people love, who is a Japanese wrestler with such great credibility. And they have buried them both. So you see this match, which should have been given to NXT talent. If they lost on Super Showdown, it wouldn't hurt them that much. But no. They use Naomi and they use Asuka. And Asuka looked like she couldn't even wrestle. Because not only did she have to slow down so much for Peyton Royce and Billie Kay to do their work, she looked terrible. And in the end, it was Naomi who had to job. Sorry about the noise outside. It's busy at this time at night. People always running back and forth. Sorry. But Naomi had to do the job because they weren't going to let Asuka do it. But even if Asuka didn't do the job, where's Asuka now? Nothing. This was the worst thing. I think the only reason they got this win wasn't just because they were in Melbourne, Australia, was because of what happened with Peyton Royce and what happened to Dave Meltzer, who was not talking about a freaking weight with her titties. I'm sorry to talk in such a horrible way, because I respect women who act like ladies. But let's be honest here. Honesty is important. Peyton Royce only got any credibility because David Meltzer was saying 100% clear that he liked her when she was smaller in size with her bust, her breast. He thought she was more pretty as her regular self, not someone who made her breast bigger for what? For television? That's sad. To actually do that because of television. If you're self-conscious about yourself because your breasts are too small, that's understandable. Women and men have types of phobias or types of any type of insecurity. And it's understandable. But if you did that because you want to look better for television, that's freaking stupid. And then worse yet, you get over on two women who obviously are being buried. Naomi's being buried and people still cheer for her. Asuka's being buried and they're still cheering for her. It was a freaking joke. Now, here's the next thing that was stupid. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to say it wasn't stupid. I'm saying it's stupid. AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe for the WWE Championship. The championship that should be Samoa Joe's. Now, mind you, and I'm going to make this very clear, this was a good match. It was way better than AJ and Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania. It had a better story. The work in the ring was much more better. Being a no DQ, no countout really does help a lot. But in the end, no matter how much people are going to say it was a great match, it didn't matter which one won. It did matter because Joe should have won. He legitimately beat AJ and he should have won, and he did not win, which then makes this even worse for Joe. They sacrificed Joe because of what happened with Daniel Bryan and The Miz. And I'll talk about that in a minute, which is also dumb. But in the end, Joe, where does he go now? He went through all that hard work to look so good, having such incredible mic work, to nothing. I want to strangle someone who came up with this idea of letting Samoa Joe go down this path with AJ, and in the end gets nothing. Nothing. It was so stupid. Now, the Riot Squad versus the Bella and Ronda Rousey. I don't need to talk much about this. I didn't give a damn. I didn't even stay in the room most of the time when it was playing. I went and did stuff that I needed to do, like wash some dishes, go to the bathroom. I did not care about this match. It only picked up at the end when Ronda got into the ring, because at first, they had Nikki do the majority of the work, which, if you saw the beginning of that match, Nikki was telling Ronda, stay out of it, I'll do it. Don't worry, I'll do it. And it was all Nikki, which was boring. Most of the time, the crowd barely cheered. When Brie got in there, they got upset. And then oh man, look. A lot of people are angry about what Nikki did to Liv Morgan. And they think that she should be fired or she should retire. They should think she doesn't deserve to work. As I said, what she should have did is just be herself instead of being Daniel Bryan. She shouldn't try to do Daniel Bryan's moves when she's never done them before. And she is not a high-flying wrestler. She just isn't. Brie Bella's never been a high-flying wrestler. So when it comes to this, people were upset. Once Liv Morgan got into the ring with Brie Bella, and particularly once Brie had her up against the ropes, gave her Brie mode, and then stuck her tongue out at her and did loser. It's in my face. Actually, I did the loser thing with my hand. It's in my face. That pissed off the crowd. A lot of people don't like her for that. They don't like what happened with Liv Morgan. And then worse, they don't like what she just did with Liv Morgan, sticking her tongue out at her and basically doing the loser this in her face. Now, I know a lot of people are going to probably say, what about Daniel Bryan? Do you agree what he did? I agree what he did because that was his wife. He's going to do it. But I do not agree with Brie. Calm down. Brie should not be doing Daniel Bryan's work because she's going to hurt somebody again and herself. If she's going to continue working, she better be Brie. If she's Daniel Bryan with tits and an ass, she's going to hurt someone again and herself. I'm just being honest. Let her be herself. She doesn't need to quit. She can be a manager. She can wrestle. Just don't go near the titles anymore. Anyway, at the end, Ronda Rousey won against Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, doing a double armbar on her. On them. I'm sorry. She did a double armbar on them. I'm alright with it, but don't really care. I don't. You know why? You got the baddest woman on the planet rushed. I know she has ability in the ring. I know people like her, but she should be getting the title next year. I'm being honest here. She's not 100% bad. She's still learning. But why not let her build up into her title, not just rushed into it? That's just how I feel. Now, let's move on to the match that I felt was slow at first, but then became a great match, which I do agree with the outcome. That's the Cruiserweight Championship with Buddy Murphy and Desmond Xavier. If I'm pronouncing his name right. Cedric, not Desmond Xavier. Cedric, you see I'm thinking about Impact Wrestling. Cedric Alexander. I think they should call Cedric Alexander Alexander the Great, because he's a damn good wrestler. And I apologize for calling him Desmond Xavier. I am thinking about Impact Wrestling. But anyway, was the match great? It was, at first, there was a nice flurry, but then it felt really slow once Buddy Murphy started going to grapple wrestling. I'm sorry. One of the reasons why I don't watch 205 Live, at least when it first started, before it went back to Triple H, when it was Kevin Dunn and I believe Vince was running it, they're supposed to give it what the cruiserweights were. High-flying, high-impact wrestling. And technically speaking, what Buddy Murphy did was what they used to do. Slowing it down into a tame version of the cruiserweight wrestling. Just that's how it was. But then halfway into it, near the end, it really picked up a lot. Desmond Xavier is a beast in the ring, but so is Buddy Murphy. And in the end, he won his title, which I agree with. He just looks like a champion. He just feels like a champion. When he came out, he just presented himself like a champion. And I had no problem with him winning. No problem whatsoever. That was one of the few things I liked about the show. That one match. It was a good match. Good high flying. Good high impact. If you hadn't seen some of the scenes of it, if I got enough of them, I didn't botch them. When sometimes my screen capture doesn't work all the time. So I get my not my screensaver, but I forget this. Anyway, we're moving on to the next one, which is the Shield versus... this match sucked. Between the Shield, Braun, Dolph, and Drew. It freaking sucked. The crowd wasn't totally into it. The opening, when Braun, Drew, and Dolph came out, was fine. But then when the Shield came out, they didn't come out all in one unit. For some stupid reason, I don't know who it was. Somebody had the bright idea to have Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns come in 3 separate directions. And then they meet up. What was they thinking? There was no way to tell who was who. The crowd in Melbourne, in that arena, was so massive. It was impossible to tell who was who. Even with the lights on them, I couldn't tell who was who. It was a waste of time. It was a waste. Honestly. And then the match. Didn't care about the match. The only major person that was the most spotlighted was Seth Rollins. He made the match what it was. Second person was Drew. Drew is a straight up beast. It hurts to think that he's only going to be the tag champ. And when they drop those titles, I don't think Drew McIntyre is going to be doing anything. I think he'll just wander around just like Bobby Lashley. Understandable, Bobby Lashley has been botching a lot on and off. And I think it's due to the fact he's pissed at what's been going on. But I just feel that Drew McIntyre is true talent now. He developed himself so well. And he should be in the main title scene. And he's not going to probably be at all. In the end, they tried to emphasize about Dean Ambrose. They had talked. This is the thing that got me realizing that nothing was going to happen with Dean, even though they were emphasizing when it came to Renee Young, who, mind you, I am enjoying that she is on commentary. She does bring a better dynamic. She's not boring like most of the others. Mind you, I still do think Booker T is the second best one when he's allowed to be off the cuff. But let's be honest here. They tried to emphasize Dean possibly turning. And the more they emphasize it, the more I realize not only going to not do it, they're just going to rub it in the fans' face. And that's exactly what they did. At the very end, once, there was a lot going on. I'm not going to explain it all. But by the end of it, when they thought they'd taken out Dean Ambrose, and once everyone else circled the ring, you got Seth and Roman in the center of the ring. And this is after Roman Superman punched Dean in the face. That's what they tried to set this up as. That Dean got punched in the face. Oh, now he's going to go and turn on the Shield. And then once they were encircled, Dean comes up on the side that they're not occupying. Everyone looks at him like, oh, you're going to do something? You're going to get them? You're going to do it? And I knew he wasn't going to do anything. The only thing he did was charge. I think it was, well, who was it? Dolph? I'm not even sure. In the end, it was Dean who got the pin. What was the point of all that garbage? It was boring. I didn't give a damn about this match. I watched that match, the majority of it, and it pissed me off because I watched it. I was stupid enough to watch instead of walking away like I did with the Bellas and with Ronda Rousey in the Riot Squad. I should have walked away because that was dumb. Now, Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. Let's be honest here. It was a good match. It was a damn good match. Need to face the one move that the flying knee of Daniel Bryan The Miz did. If anyone thinks The Miz isn't athletic and can do any move anybody else can do, look what he did. He knocked the crap out of the Daniel Bryan with his own freaking move. Now, mind you, he didn't win. Of course he didn't win. Of course he wasn't going to win. Because that's how stupid the WWE is. Like I said months ago, Daniel Bryan is not an underdog. Daniel Bryan has not struggled once. Once has he struggled. He hasn't struggled once. Has he lost a couple of times? Yes. But has he struggled? Zero struggle. That made the story for me totally irrelevant. As far as I'm concerned right now, because if they had allowed The Miz to win, go up against AJ, you let The Miz win, and you get something built up going into maybe Royal Rumble, or better yet, build this up into WrestleMania. This is nothing. Daniel Bryan wins. Do I care now? No, because there's no freaking struggle for him. What did he have to struggle for? Why did he get angry about The Miz? He didn't do anything that The Miz... He knows The Miz cheated. Why would he get upset? There was no reason to get upset because he knows he can beat him, and he just did. Now he's going against AJ Styles. I don't care now. I don't care about The Miz and Daniel Bryan feud as it stands now. Unless they do something to make me care, to actually make me think that Daniel Bryan has to struggle against The Miz, that The Miz has gotten up on him and he just can't beat him, I don't care. I don't. And you guys can give me a reason to care. Because as it stands now, I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry for the cursing. I'm angry that they didn't allow The Miz to win this, to give us a better story than just Daniel Bryan coming over on no adversity. He has not struggled once. Not once. Not against Big Cass. Not against The Miz. Not against Sierra Omos. Not even, you don't even know if he's going to struggle against AJ Styles. He has not struggled once. So why do you care? Now, final match of the night, which was the longest match that was on the show. And to me, was the saddest match you can see. It wasn't the fact the match was 100% bad. No. This was not about the match being 100% bad. It was the fact that this match ended the show instead of the Universal title, which was on the hips and the waist of Roman Reigns. You see how bad this is with the WWE? You see how bad this is for Raw? Raw is so bad. They didn't put Roman Reigns in the end of the show. It was Triple H. And they did that because they knew Roman Reigns was so weak. So you have Triple H versus The Undertaker with Kane and HBK at both sides of the ring and their respective corners. And this is where things get really hard. Generally the match was Triple H. Triple H was the one who was carrying the match. Because if you didn't see Undertaker was tanked after 15 minutes. He was so exhausted. The majority of the time, you had to have Triple H cover for him. You had to have Shawn Michaels come in and keep it going while he breathed a little bit for a few seconds at a time. The only person that didn't generally involve himself was Kane, which, when it came for, how can I explain this? Kane was an afterthought. He really didn't generally get involved in the match much at all. And particularly that, I almost forgot, the match at the very opening, when JoJo announced it, went to a no DQ. It wasn't a regular match. It had to become a DQ match with no disqualification because they knew The Undertaker couldn't do a regular match. It was hard to see The Undertaker work, particularly if you don't see him in my face. The boy's got a huge gut. I'm not saying he don't have abs and he hasn't worked out, but due to the fact of his age, he's like 55. He's a little older than I am. At 47. I'm 47. I know I have a gut, mostly due to the fact I can't exercise because of my injury. With him, he just got hip replacement. I'm sure he's working out. He's trying to get in good shape. But let's be honest. The Undertaker can't do a 20, 30, 40 or near an hour match. It was nearly an hour. Like almost 50 minutes. Nearly 50 minutes of match, if I'm correct. 50. It was bad to see him in that condition. And it was Triple H that was mostly covering for him. They went outside the ring and mostly did their work. Then they went outside into the arena. And at certain points it got really picked up and became interesting. And I was okay with it for a certain amount. When it went back into the ring, into the end of the match, is when it really picked up. Because it wasn't the fact the Undertaker got better. It was the fact they had to draw on Triple H more. Having Shawn Michaels help Triple H. Having Triple H having to use the sledgehammer, that is his signature weapon. Having him do whatever it takes to stop the Undertaker. Pile driving him. Well, no, the Undertaker pile drive the Triple H. And it didn't work. Then Triple H did a pedigree on him. It didn't work. They did everything they could to emphasize that Triple H can't beat The Undertaker, but was more stamina, had more stamina than The Undertaker. Eventually, Triple H hits him in the face with the sledgehammer due to the fact of help with Shawn Michaels, and it's over. Triple H wins, finally after 16 years, and there's an embrace, the hands are up, and then after that, The Undertaker and his brother Kane kicked the ass of Triple H and HBK. And that probably will lead us into Survivor Series. Because that's the best thing we're going to have for Survivor Series. Seeing Triple H and his best friend with The Undertaker and Kane. This is why I said this is so sad. That it takes 4 guys who are in... Well, one, I think Triple H is nearly 50. He's like 49 or 48 years old. A little bit older than me. And everybody else is already 50. It is sad to see the crowd was very enthusiastic about 4 guys who are 50, or one of them is nearly 50. And everybody else on the card was considered pretty much an afterthought. Or really wasn't given what they deserved. This wasn't the show I expected. Or better yet, this isn't the show I wanted. I wanted something better than this. SmackDown should have been the emphasis because they haven't given us anything on Raw. But SmackDown was sacrificed. 100% sacrificed. There wasn't even one thing for SmackDown was good. The only thing that was good was 205 Live. That was it. As it stands, the show sucked for me. This is just my point of view. You guys tell me below. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.